All right, Panther Lair, we are continuing our discussion of Bub Carrington's performance in Pitt's opening night win over NC A&T. This time I'm going to be talking about the off-the-bounce shot making. Now, I broke down his high school tape. There's an article that ran on Panther Lair a couple months ago, and because it's a highlight tape, it featured a lot of makes off the bounce. But I had heard some things coming out of the overseas games. Anytime that the Pitt basketball Twitter or X account was posting anything, you'd usually see Carrington make at least one shot off the bounce. So I was intrigued, but I also questioned how efficient that he might be given a high volume once the games actually started. So it's something I kind of was watching for as I was watching the game on Monday. So I have 4 shots here. He attempted 12, but I have 4 shots here, all off the bounce, and we're going to talk about whether I think those were good shots, if I think those are going to continue, and just give an overall analysis here. So let's jump into the first one. This is the first jumper that he makes off the bounce, this one in transition, and it's a really tough shot. I mean, if you pause here, this is contested. This is a fall away from the corner that he ends up making. Now, he had a big night, so maybe this is just one of those things where he's absolutely feeling it from the start, and he has the confidence to make this shot. That's not really the best look. If it's one of those, I think Pitt can probably live with that. The big thing here is I don't think, and even though that might at that point be more semi-transition than like a full-blown transition opportunity where everyone is backpedaling, I think mid-range shots in general in those situations are tough, even if you're shooting 50%, because the chances that you could work towards a layup, which is probably much closer to like an 80% conversion rate given the roster, I think you should do that. We're going to take a look at his miss here. Again, on the rebounding, he's able to ignite his own fast break. Talk about that earlier in a video. We're going to see this is early offense. Here comes the drag screen. And this is a step-in jumper. I mean, this is an open, uncontested shot. You're going to see this guy come in here, his defender, a little bit from the left at the end, but the release is going to be fine. It's not going to be contested up to that point. Now, there is a case to be made that he could maybe have like hesied here and then got all the way to the basket because clearly Federico's defender is now trying to, curb penetration. Maybe he lobs over the top here. Obviously, Federico is a great lob target, but I don't think this is a terrible shot in that it was uncontested. But again, just not a super fan of mid-range shots in transition or semi-transition. But I honestly also think that if he doesn't take these shots and he just completely always is looking for guys, maybe teams figure that out. I don't know. There's something to be said about the way teams will play a person given their attempts. So these are mostly fine. Look, 2 jumpers like this in transition, not the end of the world. Pitt obviously blew out NC A&T. Now, these 2 are going to be 3-point makes, and they're going to be attacking switch scenarios. So see, again, not quite early offense, but always involving a ball screen. 2 go with 1. Federico's defender is not going to be able to hang with Carrington on the perimeter, and by the time that Carrington's own man tries to come back to contest this, he just calmly steps back and hits a wide open 3. I guess not necessarily wide open, but I think the contest, and the same thing here, the contest comes so late that I think there's nothing that bothers him up until release. Again, 6'5", going against a smaller defender. This is a little bit more pronounced. Empty side ball screen here with Guillermo. Guillermo's man switches onto him. Carrington recognizes it immediately, backs him up, and then steps right into a 3. Again, the contest here is all the way up into release, but at no point is he bothered up until that point. His size allows him to shoot over that anyways. So these are the types of things that I think we will continue to see because last year, fans got really used to Nelly Cummings shooting threes over switches. He wasn't really somebody that kind of attacked it all the time. I know that like common thought could be, hey, why don't you attack the mismatch with your speed? But Carrington has profiled so far, and I think, his scouting report coming into Pitt was that he is a good shooter. So I think we're going to see him shoot in these situations, and he looks confident. Jumper looks good. So as long as the amount of off the bounce jumpers doesn't like creep into 50%, 60% or something like that, and he continues to put pressure on the defenses via drives, and he looks really good in catch and shoot situations. But here he took 12 total shots on the night, 4 at least were off the bounce. I don't have all the shots here, but it's in that range, so 33%, not the end of the world. I think we're going to continue to see this throughout the season, and I think that Carrington is going to be mostly consistent in knocking these shots down.